There we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Wright, also known as Professor Jess, and you have entered session 1 of Grant Writing 101 for Grant Writing Fundamentals. I'm excited you're here tonight. Excited is an understatement, actually. I am grateful. I feel overjoyed. I feel honored that you made the decision to join this class to learn more about my heart's passion. Um, I've been grant writing for over 24 years, and I've been a part of over $7.5 million in grant funding. That's for profit and nonprofit. And so it's important, and it's, again, a part of my heart's joy, heart's passion to be able to share the information that kind of swirls around in my head on a consistent basis. So in my day job, I am a federal employee. I work as a senior project management manager or a program and management analyst on the federal level. And I function in excellence there, very fast paced, very organized. You have to be extremely type A to get a lot of things done in a quick amount of time. You have to be extremely efficient. You have to anticipate other people's needs. You have to navigate personalities, etc. And I feel the same way about grants, that grant management, grant writing is project management. And so before you can do any of those things, you have to address the fundamentals. So the basics, the baseline information that every person needs. I understand that coming into this situation and dealing with the audience that we've encountered so far, that everyone's at different places in their grant journey. Right? So I'm gonna take my time, but also I'm gonna hurry up. So you'll anticipate me speaking to the middle of the room. So I'll be somewhere between the people that are dreamers, that are in that dream state, that dream space, and they just haven't gotten a chance to execute yet. And then I'm also going to be for people that are already established, have a lot of their business stuff together and are ready to get things rolling. And so we'll be catering to both audiences tonight. Because again, the point is not to leave anybody out, to make anybody feel bad, to do anything that will make you feel like you're so far behind that you can never start. The point is to start. That's the purpose of offering this free course. I want to see you start, and I want to see you get busy, because when we don't win, we learn. When we win, we learn, we feel great, we get all the warm and fuzzies, etc. But you have to cut your teeth. You have to get a thicker skin. You have to get tough so that you can access the things that you really need. And so it's my goal to set you up for success, That's ultimately, it's not about, getting the bag, et cetera. Like I said, I have a full-time job. I am a grant consultant. When I finish my 9 to 5, which is really 7 to 4:30, I log on early. Once I finish that, I'm working. On my lunch breaks, I'm working, and it's grant writing. It's fundraising strategy. It's business consulting. It's connecting with people all over the country. And I do have a few international clients, Barbados. I have Barbados, and I want to say Australia. It's a couple places, right? And so I take pride in that, not just because I get to say somebody's, from out the country is interested in working with me, but it's because I see the value, and I know that it pushes past race, gender, religion, socioeconomic status. It also pushes you into a place where I can say that the world needs the work that I do. And it gives me such a great sense of purpose. And I've done directed service and stuff like that. I've fed the hungry. I've helped people in certain situations, et cetera, given money and stuff like that. But this is my way. This is my way to give back, to have outreach, et cetera, and to be able to build for a better future for many, 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 many communities. All right, so let's get to work. Who's ready? Who's ready to dig in? All right. I have to make the screen bigger because listen, these glasses are real. These are prescription. These have magnifying qualities that you wouldn't dream. And again, thank you again for supporting one another in the chat and assisting me, being my TAs, and helping me to navigate these treacherous waters of multitasking, which is a part of project management. Excuse me. So again, let's do little house rules. Let's set the house. Let's get this all together. I'm going to repeat myself a few times because some people have just came in. We have an attendance sheet. The link has been shared multiple times. It's in the chat. If you do not mark yourself as present or don't ask one of your classmates to mark you as present, you will be automatically unenrolled, and I will make space for people that are in cycle 2. There are 600 people waiting, 619 people waiting for your spot. So please, and I'm only going to unenroll during this first session, but I need to know who's showing up, who's going to be here through these classes, because I know that things happen, but for this first class especially, you need to be locked in and engaged so that we can kind of understand. It is my job as your instructor to show you how to be a good student. Yes? I thought you'd agree. All right, our course objectives are to get to the fundamentals like your grant writing landscape, the anatomy of a strong grant proposal, grant writing do's and don'ts, and then being able to ask questions in real time and answering. So again, the engagement is important to me. This is not going to be heavy, really labor intensive. I will provide some course materials that you could utilize later, that you could purchase on your own. I'll have some discount links, etc., to access certain books about grant writing. Right now, I want your ears, I want your eyes, I want your engagement. I want you in that chat asking questions if you don't understand something, etc., because that's what makes sense to me. And Miss McCool, she's one of my unofficial TAs. Can you just put an emoji or say hey or something in the chat? I do have a task for you tonight. Kayla, there we go. Kayla McCool. If you're seeing consistent questions going through the evening, through this session, can you just make me a quick FAQ sheet? I know I'm asking you on the spot, but I feel like you can handle it because you are in the Discord active, okay, girl? And we appreciate you. We love you for it. But if you see the same questions being asked over and over again, just that question that's been repeated 3 times or more, throw it on an FAQ sheet, and then I can answer those at the end before we do our Q&A. And that'll probably help with managing the crowd. Thank you. So, important things to me. So, course objectives is to hit all those points, right? Course objectives, hit all those points that I just mentioned, the writing landscape, writing a fire proposal, making sure that you understand the do's and don'ts, right? Next, let's get to expectations. Show up on time if you can. Again, I understand that this is Wednesday evening. I just couldn't give y'all 6 of my weekends. I love me too much. I love me too much, and I wasn't gonna do it. No matter how much I love you already. You're already my people. You're here. You're mine. But I had no. We wouldn't do it. I do Saturdays randomly, not every week for 6 weeks in a row. This is a free course. I have a life. God bless you. All right. The next one, follow instructions. I try to be explicitly clear, but I have gotten over the past 10, 12 days, the same questions over and over and over again. I will go to sleep with 50 DMs, 15, 20 comments. How do I find the Discord? Where's the link? How do I sign up for class? Can I register for cycle 1? And I'm doing course announcements and things like that. And I'm a broken record on purpose because I want you to catch the information. And for you that have shown up, this message might not even be for you. Well, tell your friends. I'm a stickler about that. Follow directions, follow instructions. Why? Because the majority of a grant is instructions. It is instructions. That's what a grant is. It is instructions. It is instructions. Now, I did see a comment. If the Discord link is acting up, please, if someone has access to the Discord, you can drop a fresh link inside the chat for everyone. Try to rejoin. Discord has been crashing because of the activity from Hillmantok. So I do provide grace for that. But for people that have never looked at the link in my bio when I've said it 117 times on the internet, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. But please follow instructions. The next expectation, watch the videos that I post. If you are in the Discord, you already know that when I post a video, like our course announcements, and I try to do it at least 3 times a week, giving you instructions on how to get everything done, where to go, who to speak with, which is normally me, etc. I post that TikTok video inside the Discord because I'm assuming that the majority of you are all coming from TikTok. So if you are, we know that TikTok is a temporary system. For whatever reasons it might stay or go away, it is a temporary system. So it is my intention to usher you to a space where we all could stay connected, stay in contact, build community, continue to assist one another, continue to go towards grant funding, etc. But we can't, TikTok is not a viable, long-term, sustainable method to be able to do that. So please go to the Discord. Please make sure that you're connected in that way. And then also, again, this attendance sheet helps me to reinforce I have the right people as I'm creating my email list and things like that to be able to stay connected for special events, etc. Like I'm already planning live in-person events in certain cities in the United States to make sure that I'm getting so we can meet in person and have some good, clean fun talking about grants. All right, moving on. Read the Discord. I have channels for reminders, for general stuff, for opportunities, grant opportunities, business opportunities, etc. And I'm going to start adding more and more. But you need to be in the Discord in order for that to happen. If the Discord is not working for you, it is taking some people a couple tries. And if you have two emails, if you signed up more than once, please let me know that you signed up more than once so I can erase that because that's a spot somebody else could have. And again, I only went according to what was in that registration. I didn't try to ask no additional questions, none of the things. I was like, hey, if this is the name I see, you're in. And I sent emails out. I cut and pasted intentionally to make sure that I had everyone, transferred over myself. All right. So read the Discord. And the last one, broken record, is me. Follow instructions. Follow instructions. For each of these classes, I am recording them. The recording is happening right now. So please make sure that you mind your camera and chat and recording etiquette to the best of your ability. So that there was information, so that if information is shared, I'm going to be sharing this on my YouTube channel. The recordings from each session will be on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to try to do it, by the weekend. So it'll be a couple days for me because, again, I am doing a lot of this stuff after work, etc. So thank you in advance for your grace. And I'll be sharing the links, but it'll be going directly up to my YouTube channel. All those links is in my link in my bio. It's going to take you to my site, my LinkedIn, my Discord chats, registration for cycle 2, the YouTube channel, all the things. And that's going to give you everything you need right there. Forgive me in advance. I talk with my hands. I talk quickly. I talk, fast. I'm a little yapper because this stuff makes me happy. Glad you made it too, Lakeisha. We're excited you're here. All right. So I'm going to take a poll really quickly because I just want to gauge the crowd, see who I have in the crowd. And let's start with this first one. So you got 60 seconds to go ahead and take this poll. And it says, what is your current experience level with grant writing? You only got 60 seconds, so answer it now. Are you brand new? Have you written and contributed to a couple? Have you successfully written a few and gotten funding? Or you're a professional, you're a pro? Let me know. Which one are you? We got 30 seconds left. Go ahead and take that poll for me. Okay, we got lots of newbies. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be completely lost because again, if you manage or function any type of projects of any kind, normally it sets you up to be able to get these things done. 10 seconds left. And it just helps me to understand who I'm dealing with. Got you written grants before, but just, you've written projects before, just not grants. And a grant is a project. A grant is a project. So here are results. The majority of you, 80% of you, are brand new to grant writing. I love it. That means fresh, unfettered brains that we can, dig into and, make some good things happen. I love that. I love that. All right. So let's talk about the grant writing landscape. All right. So what is a grant? So people get all excited, they get all emotional and they can't wait when they hear about grants because they think that grants are free money. In its simplest form, yes, a grant is free money. Yes, it is. A grant is free money. However, it's free money with conditions. No one is Rarely is anyone ever going to just give you 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, $500,000 with no conditions, no accountability structure, nothing. It does happen every blue moon, but not really, not often, not often. And yeah, I wouldn't trust that because they might come back for something that you're not anticipating giving, huh? You take that however you want. Um, the differences between the types of grants or like who's funding these grants would be the government grants, foundation grants, and corporate grants. And those are like corporate grants and sponsorships. So government grants, that's the big kahuna. So somebody asked earlier, I think it was in my TikTok live right before this was what was my opinion about what's happening with the federal government and the freeze on federal funding, federal grants, et cetera. So for those, it's like that funds anything from cash aid, food stamps, et cetera, all the way to major programs that are being funded in your local cities, et cetera, right? And so what I told that individual is that you need to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready because nothing is official, as we've heard in the news, et cetera. So you need to continue to execute your plan and make sure that you are always ready for an opportunity to come. So I can use the example of the fact that how I found you all, my new people, my new grant family, right? My community. If you go back and scroll back on my page, I have quizzes, fun facts, articles, carousels, everything you could think of. I even have series of me dressing up like a grant writer, which is just basically me putting on clothes, but I'm a grant writer, right? So that was success meeting preparation because I always knew you were coming. I always knew you would show up. I always knew you would be here. I just was waiting for the time for you to get here. You had to find me. Something had to happen. And this something happened to be Hillmantok or TikTok University or whatever it's called these days, right? Allowed our paths to cross. And now we're here in this grant fundamentals course having a conversation about these foundational pieces. So with government funding, it's the big kahuna, but it's the most arduous. Anything federal, state, city, county, they are going to ask for the blood of your firstborn. They're going to know literally everything. They're going to want to know everything about you. Who else is giving you money? If they haven't, why not? How many grants have you lost? How many grants have you won? I'm exaggerating on some of these, but they're going to ask a lot of questions. How much money do you have in the bank? Have you filed your taxes? Are you going to file your taxes? What type are you going to file? How much revenue did you have in? How many people did you help? What was the impact of the people that you helped? How long will you do this program? If they don't fund you, what will you do? They ask all those questions. Now, my favorite type of grants are the foundations. Foundations are normally private. So normally you'll see a big family that'll fund it and it's less parameters sometimes. Sometimes they can be pretty stringent, but other times they're like, hey, just, write us a letter of intent. Let us know how you help save the endangered, fire ants of Milwaukee. And we'll see. We'll let you know in 3 months. Or we'll let you know in 30 days or whatever their parameters are. And they'll get back to just say yes or no. I love those. Those are the ones that I've won the most with besides state grants, but that was during COVID. So it was a different time. It was a different climate, right? And then corporate grants and partnerships, those are when you go to a health fair, you see a big old Kaiser banner or you see a big old Exxon banner or something like that. Normally they paid for that space. They paid to be able to showcase that they're connected, or they might pay for a specific program that you're executing, et cetera. And I like those because those can be pretty simple, but those are nine times out of 10 built on perseverance and relationships. So you just keep showing up and showing up and showing up until you get in front of the person that wants to take a chance on you in that corporate space. I've worked for a pharmaceutical company in the grant space as a grants manager and was a part of a situation where I had to get rid of $10 million in 27 days. Sounds fun, but it's not. Because as a grant writer, my heart, my brain, I know what it takes to get certain things done. And then you have other people from different ethnic backgrounds, from different socioeconomic classes. And that's why it's important that folks from everywhere are in the room. We had a situation where there was a local clinic in Colombia because they served globally. We had a local clinic in Colombia that needed $50,000. And the $50,000 would have bought supplies for their clinic for a year and a half. It would have paid for a telephone line because they did not have a telephone line. If you were sick, you just had to walk 4 miles to the clinic and hope that they could see you that day and hope that you didn't get there so late that they were closed. So it was supplies for a year and a half, a telephone line, and then to be able to pay the staff for half a year or something like that. And there was a person on the, don't mind that person walking behind me, that's my daughter. That scared me also. There was a person on the board that was a decision maker that was from a different socioeconomic class, had a vested interest in how things were conducted, but from a different perspective. And she felt like that would have been a waste of money, but also was advocating for a program that would allow children with cystic fibrosis to become pen pals when they already have iPads and telephones and cell phones. So it's a situation where you need everybody in the room for those types of situations. Because we had a gentleman, an attorney from England, and he was like, "You sound crazy." And so, because you sound crazy, I'm going to have to push back on this. And why are you worried about X, Y, and Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, and Z when these people, this is going to help their livelihood, keep people alive. And you're talking about being a pen pal, writing letters. And so we need to be in the room. And I've also been a grant reviewer. So I just reviewed a grant for $6.7 million in a small city in Northern California for a children, family, and youth program that was set up, a children, family, and youth program that is set up to assist a population of maybe like over 1 million, but only $6.5 million. And so I saw grant budgets that were as small as $75,000 a year. And then I saw grant budgets that were as large as $39 million. And so from the grant reviewer perspective, looking at these grants and judging, you have to judge impact, like who is this affecting? Is there longevity and sustainability, et cetera? So you have to put all those things into perspective when you're making these decisions. So I'm looking at it from the board perspective. I'm looking at it from the reviewer perspective. I'm looking at it from the grant writer perspective. Also, I'm looking at it from an everyday person perspective. I've lived in trauma. I've lived in high crime and drug infested areas. I've been on cash aid before. I've received food stamps different times in my life, but I have. And so having someone with a diverse background in those spaces helps you to be able to know how to navigate those waters and to be able to be fair, more fair than someone with a limited purview because they've never experienced poverty or trauma in certain ways. And it doesn't mean that you're unqualified. It just means that we need to have multiple perspectives in those rooms to make sure that we're being as fair as possible because not everybody's going to be as benevolent as that attorney in England. Does that make sense? All right, so let's take another poll. This one is 60 seconds again. What type of grants are you most interested in? So based off of the descriptions that I just gave, the examples that I just gave, you got less than 60 seconds. What types sound like they meet the criteria for what you're looking for most? Because again, this is going to help us to understand where we stand. Like, Does this even make sense for me to be in this class? Like, am I not ready for that? Or am I overly qualified? Should I be going after federal grants when I've only been going after, anything that I saw on somebody's grant list that they provided for me? Like, all of that matters, and gaining perspective is super important. We got 25 seconds left. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing where we're falling in this one. 15 seconds left. So what kind of grants are you most interested in? What kind of grants are you most interested in? All right, we are 100% answered. Love that. I'm gonna end the poll and let's share the results. All right, so the majority of you, overwhelmingly, any available funding opportunities. Now, that's great, but then it's also not that great, right? And I say that because you want to have an intended goal, you want to have a focus area, you want to have a place to land when you're looking at all these spaces. If this makes sense, just put a 1 in the comments for me. If that makes sense. You want to have a place to land. You want to have a place to land. Now, it doesn't mean that, if something pops up, we don't take it. Hey, because listen, we take it. However, you want to make sure that you kind of have segments and sections for all those different places for these buckets for this information to fall into. Does that make sense? All right, let's move on because we're already at halfway through the hour. All right. But thank you for participating in that poll again. And as I'm taking these polls, it helps me to kind of catch information and understand where you are. And it gives me the opportunity to tailor these lessons to what you actually need, not just what I feel like you need. So again, when I talk about I tailor and I'm setting things up for you, your girl is working, okay? All right, so let's move on to the anatomy of a strong grant proposal. The anatomy of a strong grant proposal. Now, if you were in my class on Saturday, if you heard me in any of my lives talking about anything grant related, I have something called the Big Four. The Big Four. I have 4 questions that you should always be answering in your grant proposal, in your grant application, when somebody's asking you, about what you need for your business, your organization, your nonprofit, your for-profit, etc. The Big Four. These questions are, who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how much money do you need? I'm going to say that again. The Big Four. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how much money do you need? Now, I want to take the next 60 seconds and I want people to write in the chat their Big Four. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? I'm watching the clock. I'm watching the clock. Take the next 60 seconds, write your Big Four in the chat for me. And that'll give me a chance to hydrate. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? What is your Big Four? And don't stress yourself out about it. If I had, a bang bang to your head or I had $1 million check, whichever one is going to push you to answer the question quickly. All right, Pam, I see you. Melissa, good. Tamara or Tamara, Washington, nice. Okay. Okay. And make sure that you're sending the message to everyone when you're putting them in the chat, because I think some of you are accidentally sending them directly to me. Make sure you click at the bottom left and it's a blue box that says you can put it directly to someone, an individual, or put it to everyone. Nice. Okay. Nice. I love seeing all the different types of businesses and organizations and efforts and the type of work. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? And no matter what kind of application, opportunity, situation you're in, you're always going to be answering those questions. No matter how they phrase it, they're going to rewrite it And they are going to intentionally ask you in these grant applications how to, there's those same questions over and over again, just in different ways. They're going to rephrase them 5, 6 different times. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I've I've seen it in almost every single grant application that I have participated in, completed. They're going to ask some same questions. So you having that information is going to set you up for success. It's going to set you up for success. It's going to set you up for success. Like if you hear nothing else, the big four will set you up for success. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? Because if you think about it from the funder's perspective, and again, I'm thinking about this holistically, so the whole thing, right? If you think about it from the funder's perspective, they're giving away the money. They're giving away the money because you fit a certain demographic. You're a woman, you're a POC of some kind, you service veterans, you're in an impoverished area where there might be food insecurity, and you're only asking for $7,000. All those things hit checkpoints for them because they have requirements too. When they have money to give, they have to give it away. So if it's federal funding, if it's state funding, if it's from a private foundation, they have to get rid of the money. So they get stressed out, just like you get stressed out when you need the money, they get stressed out when they can't give the money away. So thinking about how much you might need money, we always function in confidence, never desperation, because somebody has money to give you. Somebody's looking for someone exactly like you. Your specific type of business, your specific type of nonprofit, they're looking for you. But when they find you, you need to be able to answer what? Put it in the comments. Just one of the big four. Put it in the comments. What is one of the big four? Who are you? Good. Thank you, Eva. Or Eva. Who do I serve? What do you do? How much money do you need? Good. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? That's the big four. That is the big four. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? Some people may call it an elevator pitch. You call it whatever. You can call it, bam, bam on a garbage pail lid. Doesn't matter. Can you answer those questions? How much money do you need? And that number should not stump you. How much money do you need should not stump you. If someone asks Professor Jess, how much money? $2 million. $2 million, and that's just my salary. For the operational budget, oh, we need 20. Because I already have a plan. I already know what I want to do. $2 million is light work for y'all. Y'all got it. $2 million is just to make sure that you secure me because I'm a hot commodity. I'm who you need, right? Right? We function in confidence, not desperation. If it's what you need, it's what you need. Will we have to scale back? Do I currently have $2 million? No. But I know my worth. And I'm closer to it than I've ever been. Not telling all my business, don't worry about it. But understanding who I am in these scenarios, they need me just like I need them. And I don't really need them. They would be nice to have. But the work is going to get done regardless. Me touching my community is going to get done regardless. But if they want to join in on my impact, because again, they get to, if you think about it, the funder gets to piggyback off of what you're doing, right? And if so, you want to make sure that you at least know how to say it. You have to be able to articulate it. You have to be able to articulate it. You got to be able to say it. And again, I understand it can get really, 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 really intimidating because you're nervous, you're not sure. And if they say no, they just weren't your people. If they say no, they were not your people. So just as a favor to me before we move on, because we do need to move on because we got to get to several more things. Put in there just how much money you need. Don't put nothing else. Don't put the rest of the big four. Just question number 4. How much money do you need? Say it with confidence in the chat. How much money do you need? Because I know what I need. Just $2 million for me, right? That don't include my perks, my flight benefits, flying on a PJ. Okay, I see it. 175, 150, 760, 750, 150, 1 mil, 1.5 mil, 500K, 150K, 850, 150K, 400K, at least 100 million. Come on, Sanita. That's what that's it. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. That's how you do it. Because if you get scared, and again, time and place, like don't walk up to somebody and be like, I need $100 million. They're going, we don't want you. No. Mm-mm. Don't do that. But within context, within reason, with the level of understanding, with the level of evidence backing up what you need, all of those things will be open to you. But you got to function like you know. And I told this story in the grant research class, but I'm gonna tell it again. I had a situation, and I even told it in my lot, but it's relevant. I had a situation. I had a person who had a very large wallet. And I had a person who did not have a very large wallet, but needed the money. And the person was like, "Oh, I heard of you have a program. I'm the middleman, right? I'm Richard." I'm like, "Hey guys, you got some money, you need some money, let's meet." And they're like, "How much money do you need?" And it's like, what's your program about? Blah, blah, blah. How much do you think you need? And they're like, um, um, mm. What was that person's mistake? Anybody know? What was that person's mistake? Does anybody know what that person's mistake was? Right? Not being ready, indecisiveness, not being confident, functioning and operating in fear. They didn't know how much they needed. And the thing is that they did know how much they needed because they knew me. So they already, we had already talked about it because I'm going to ask. So how much do you actually need? And I think they needed maybe like 30K. And the person was like, it was like, if they had asked, I mean, if they had just said it, I would have given it to them. They wouldn't even have to ask, but they stumbled. So they didn't get anything. They got $0 and they ended up giving the money to some random. For me, my goal is to be that person that says this money goes here. Sunita's gonna get that $100 million. Aaron is gonna get 800K. That's my goal. That's where I'm pushing towards. So that's why I do work like this to constantly pick the brains of the people to help me to understand how to really serve you. Because I know that that's coming. I know that day is coming. So you have to act like and know that the day is coming that someone's gonna say, Sanita, how much money do you need? Is Sanita gonna stutter? She said, nope. Because it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice, not a stutter inside. I know that's right, Rochelle. No. So who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? That's your big four. So if you don't know tonight, don't be upset with yourself. You know now. And it's gonna come up again because guess what? I'm gonna bring it up. So let's move on. So the five essential sections of a successful grant application, and I'm gonna keep this brief because we're moving. Is all the money's too much? It maybe not. You're like, can I just have all of it? Could you just empty it out and put it in my purse? Listen, I'll take it. I will take it. I would be mad. Like, you want this? This is for me? All right. I trust you. Okay. So five components, five essential sections of a good grant statement. So if you're taking notes, this is a note to take. Number one, an executive summary, also known as a statement of need. An executive summary, also known as a statement of need. It's a high-level overview of your project, your organization, or your funding request. In and out, get to it. So it's a brief introduction of your organization, a specific issue or problem your project addresses, the funding amount requested, and its intended impact. What does this sound like? What is what I just said sound like? What is it? What does that sound like? The big four. The big four. Yes. And they're going to ask you about 12 more times, same thing. But you just have to reframe it. And again, you should be your business's expert. As your grant writer, I would learn about your business, but you should be the subject matter expert on everything your business. Everything your business. Everything that's pertaining to your business. So if I ask you about it backwards, if I ask you about it forwards, if I ask you about it upside down, if I ask you about it right side up, if I ask you about it diagonally, you should be able to Answer me. You should be able to answer me. Yes. And thank you, Joshua. The big four. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? A SME. Yes. A subject, yeah, in the corporate world, we call those SME, subject matter experts. You should know your business. Again, if I'm coming in as a contractor, I will learn your business, but you should know your business. No excuses. You should know your business. All right, moving on. Organizational background and capacity. So this one is, it just establishes credibility by showcasing your organization's expertise and past success. So your mission, vision, and history, track record of success with similar projects. So even if your business is brand new, but you've been doing this thing, or you've been a part of an effort that involves that thing, all of that counts. For me, many years, I discounted my work as a grant writer. Number two, is organizational background and capacity. Organizational background and capacity. So you're establishing credibility by showcasing your organization's expertise and past success. Excuse me. So I started writing grants when I was 19. So I've been in this game a very long time. I'm still technically a teen mom. Doesn't matter if I'm in my 40s, I'm a teen mom. I said what I said. Is my daughter almost 22? Not the point. I'm a teen mom. I did not have her as a teenager. I had her at 21. Not the point. I'm a teenager still. I'm a teenager. Sometimes I'm like, who's letting me run this? Where are the grown-ups? Anyway, not the point. So I discounted a lot of my work because I wasn't officially a grant writer. I didn't have somebody deem me or lord me and crown me, knight me a grant writer. The queen didn't fly in and say, hey girl, you a grant writer. But I was doing the work. Same thing with my project management business and my project management business acumen. I was creating events, staffing events, hiring and firing people, paying people, managing budgets, writing grants, fundraising on a county level, a regional level, doing all those things, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. And it was just like, oh, and this is no shade to a receptionist, but I was like, I'm just a receptionist. I was doing all those things and they were all running concurrently. And a lot of times, especially in the project management world, we discount ourselves and say, oh, well, I just do this and I just do that and I just do this. But let something happen and we not on our stuff. Things will fall apart. Now I count that as important. I don't know about you. But yeah. But again, so think about 4 or 5 components of what you do or what you have done. And even if this is a brand new thing, where the desire was born out of. So I've never oiled up, red skin puppies, red fur puppies in Malaysia, but that's my heart's desire. And you can talk about how it was sparked because you saw a YouTube video one day and it made you think about how much you love puppies and you had a puppy on a farm at your grandma's house in Oregon and X, Y, and Z. And you tell the story that way. But a lot of times go through and say, although I wasn't running the program, I participated for 3 years doing X, Y, and Z, feeding the hungry. Then my love for it grew and I decided to do X, Y, and Z. You build it, you build your story. Because a lot of people are like, well, I haven't been doing this. I just started. There's always a way to tell the story. It's about how you frame it. It's about how you frame it. All right. We also talk about leadership teams and their qualifications. So when you're talking about your key elements of your organization, who's on your board? Who's on your board of directors? Who are you getting advice from? Who's helping to leverage certain relationships to make sure that you're known in your community? Who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? Who are your contemporaries? Again, because we don't do competition over here, not in this space, not at Migrant Gold. That's the name of my business, by the way, Migrant Gold. Not at Migrant Gold. Professor Jess doesn't have a competition. I only have contemporaries. Nobody is me. No one. No one. We haven't gotten to number 3 yet. No one is me. No one. And then think about the partnerships that strengthen your work. Can you volunteer time, etc. A for-profit should have a board of some kind to be able to provide guidance. Maybe not in the same ways that it's structured for your nonprofit, but they should have people that you confer with. You shouldn't just be the only person making decisions. First of all, because it's just too much. But you want to make sure that you have a balance of understanding idea and business acumen and the experience and the depth of the experience to go along with that. Yes, these all should go. And again, you will have to restructure these sometimes to go in different places, but they all matter. Next, number 3, project description and implementation plan. This is the meat and potatoes. This is really what this is about. They want the background, they want the history, they want who you're working with, etc. But project description and implementation plan, that's the meat and potatoes, outlines what the grant will fund, why it matters, and how it will be executed. I'm going to say that again. So the purpose of a project description and implementation plan is it outlines what the grant will fund, why it matters, and how it will be executed. So you can give a problem statement. So why is this issue critical? And use data and real life experiences. The internet is right there. Again, go to reputable sources, but the internet is right there. Have data and metrics to back up why food insecurity is a problem. Basically, food insecurity is I may not know where my next meal is coming from. So that makes me food insecure. If you think about what happened during COVID, everything was shut down, the world was shut down. A lot of times, a lot of food insecure children were getting 2 of their meals, breakfast and lunch, at school. Now, with the world shut down, they were at home where they may not have even been eating dinner. So they relied on those first 2 meals. And now they're at home in a situation where food insecurity can lead to additional issues with anger, alcoholism, drug use, domestic violence. I work with the domestic violence organization that I've been working with since 2018. Domestic violence occurrences that were reported, only the ones that were reported went up 400% because of many people were trapped with their abuser in quarantine. So do you see how one thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and then you turn around and you go, so that's the problem statement. We use data and metrics to get this done. Then the goals and objectives. So clear, measurable outcomes. So we're doing it. This is we stated the problem, we gave the evidence. Then we're going to talk about clear, measurable outcomes. We want to address 50 children that may be food insecure due to X, Y, and Z by delivering groceries through Instacart. That's a clear, measurable outcome. It's 50 families through Instacart, etc. Yes, we're providing metrics. And again, the evidence is all around us. So again, you look at your contemporaries and see what they've done. If you don't have this information already, you don't freak out. You find it. So who is like me? Who does exactly what I do or something similar or adjacent, right? Then you see what they're doing. How do they measure up? What are their outputs, etc. And you leverage it that way. And if you look in your like census reports, it'll give you metrics on the types of jobs people have, their race and ethnicities, their sexual orientations, their genders. Literally, they collect this information for us and it's available. Then if you go on a city and county level, they will have specific things about the level of food insecurity in your area. They'll have the level of again, what leads to what leads to that, what leads to, what's the pipeline between being food insecure to prison. Like literally, there are reports about everything. And that I'm sure that makes sense to you. And then activities in the timeline. So step-by-step milestones about your plan. So how do I know that? Because you have to be able to define success. Because you're like, just keep giving me money, keep giving me money. But you never actually like meet any milestones. So did I ever hit the 50 people? If I didn't meet the 50 people, I only got 25. Why? Because that's only a 50% return on what I anticipated I was going to do. So I want to hit 25 people by July, and then I want to hit 50 people by December. And if by July I don't have that first 25, I should be going on and still, yes, we're still on number 3. I should be going on and examining what I'm doing. Okay, are there things I could tweak? Can I partner with someone, etc.? I told you I was a lot of information. I'll be trying to, I already do, so I apologize. I know it's a lot. But yeah, we're still on number 3. And the last thing on number 3, and I'm going to buzz through your target audience. Who does this benefit? Include your demographics. Again, hit that census. hit those regional reports from your city. They are required by law to give those outputs to share information. Yes, you're creating a strategic plan, but we're calling it a project description. It's just called something different when you're doing it for grants. Who's your target audience? So who do you serve? That's part of the big four again. Who do you serve? Next, the fun one, the one I love the most. Also, I hate it. Budgets and justification. This is number four. Number four, budget and justification. The purpose is to demonstrate how the funds will be spent responsibly to achieve the proposed impact. So line by line breakdowns, staff, equipment, marketing, program delivery, etc. I'm going to do a special ad hoc class just about budgets, how to get through them, how to do a very simple form budget. There are more complex ones. I may even bring in like an accountant or something because listen, I know how to do them, but they're not my personal ministry. They're not part of my personal joy. I prefer to write. I prefer to strategize. I prefer to do other things. Number four, budget and justification. So the purpose is to demonstrate how the funds will be spent responsibly, how the funds will be spent responsibly. So again, that's that money with conditions, that free money with conditions, because it's work. It's work, and nothing is ever free. Nothing is ever free. So again, line by line breakdown, an explanation of why each expense is necessary. And so I have a very simplified budget template that I'll be sharing in one of the later classes that'll just give you, a breakdown. And then I'll do a special class that's just budgets only. But again, we're covering a lot in the next few weeks. And so I want to make sure that you're getting as much as possible. And then other sources of funding, if applicable. So they're going to ask, hey, so why did funder XYZ give you this money? How much did they give you? How long is it for? What do we do with it? Right. State any type of government funding budgets are the worst. And I work on the Fed side. It's the worst. Our budget people, they had to do all the special training and they hate it. It runs them crazy. And I'm like, and everybody's super smart, but it never gets easier. It doesn't. It never gets easier. All right. Number 5, because again, we got to get through this. Number 5, evaluation and sustainability plan. Evaluation and sustainability plan. Evaluation and sustainability plan. That's number 5. And this is our last point for this section. So the purpose of an evaluation and sustainability plan is to explain how success will be measured and how the project will continue beyond the grant period. So we're going to do that through evaluation metrics. So how you track it. So you do surveys, do you do intake forms? Do you keep a log of everybody that came through your program? Do you keep receipts at your business? How do you keep records? Do you do a pre-assessment, a post-assessment? All of those things. Yeah, budgets are the worst, man. I think many of us have budget trauma because it's the worst. They suck. And then my last point, long-term sustainability. How will the program continue after the grant ends? Is it future fundraising? Is it partnerships? Is it direct donations? Are you going to do are you going to get creative? Are you going to do donor advised funds, et cetera? You have to be able to explain all these things. So those are like the 5 components. All right. So I'm going to read them one more time just because I know I went through them. I was talking a lot. I apologize, but also it was needed. It was necessary. The 5 components. Number 1, an executive summary. Number 2, organizational background and capacity. Number 3, project description and implementation plan. Number 3, project description, implementation plan. Thank you, Joshua. Number 4, budget and justification. And number 5, evaluation and sustainability plan. And Joshua has graciously put all of these points inside the chat. Look at us. Teamwork makes the dream work. We love that for us. And then understanding the funder's expectations. Understanding the funder's expectations. It's time for another poll because we're getting to the nitty-gritty. 60 seconds. Which part of the grant proposal do you find the most challenging? Based off if you have experience, if you don't have experience. So if it's not challenging to you yet because you haven't done it, what seems the most scary? What seems the most scary? 30 more seconds. Which part of the grant proposal do you find the most challenging? Now everybody's scared of budgets. Don't be scared. It's just, it's one of those necessary evils, and they want to know where that money is moving. You hear me? Yes, audits can be, mhm. Audits can, yeah, audits can be a little rough. All right, so let's share these results. And it looks like it wasn't as big of a landslide as other polls, but creating a realistic budget. That's a valid concern. That's a valid concern. And then the next largest one was defining clear objectives and outcomes. Yeah, yeah. And then not knowing where to start. I get that. But we're giving you foundational pieces right now. Right now. All right. Let's go. Moving on. So do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. All right. So I made a list of common mistakes. First one, lack of grant readiness. So I'm not talking about any of the stuff I just discussed. You don't have your 501c3 status or an EIN or FEIN. You don't have a business name. You don't have a business plan of any kind. You have nothing. And I'm not saying that to be harsh. It's just you got to start somewhere. People just want to get to the money. That is not realistic. If someone that you knew never touched $1,000 was like, give me $1,000. You're like, girl, why? For what? What are we doing with it? How long do you need it for? Can you pay it back? If you can't, why not? You're going to ask all these questions. So why wouldn't somebody that's giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars ask you questions? You have to be realistic. They have expectations. They have the right to have expectations because they're giving you money. They're giving you money. Yeah. So next, weak or generic project narratives. So there will be some opportunities to discuss like proposals and preparation and stuff like that. But you want to give a general overview of your business. But you can tell when it's cookie cutter, you can tell when there's a lack of innovation, et cetera. And yes, and a 501c3 is very much a business. You got to keep your books. You got to still file, even if you're not getting taxed in the same way that other businesses are. Just a pro tip, if you are a nonprofit organization, so a 501c3, you need to, and you're $50,000 and under, each year you're going to file or every other year, you're going to file a 990N. And that's a postcard you send in to the IRS saying, hey, we're still under 50K. When you surpass $50,000, that is a 990. That's between an 11 and 18-page document, fully filed. You gotta thumb through it. You thumb it through it. Okay. I don't see ChatGPT as a bad thing, but you need to use your brain when you're using it. We don't get to turn off our brains just because we're using automation tools. And I'll have a little blurb about that during another class. All right, we keeping it moving. Poorly defined goals and outcomes. Writing broad goals without measurable outcomes. I want to save the world. A CPA will be beneficial, even if it's just quarterly. But yes. But poorly defined goals and outcomes. I want to save the world. How? By doing good work. What kind of work? Work that helps people. Which people? Do you see how there's always going to be a question? When you're giving your big four, you want to be able to have the funder have to ask the least amount of questions as possible. Get in front of that thing. Get in front of it. Because again, if somebody was handing your 5-year-old child, if your 5-year-old child is asking you for $1,000, you're like, you would need details. I would need details. I would need details. If my 21-year-old daughter right now asks me for $1,000, I'm gonna need some details. Girl, why? Why? So poorly, number three. So number one, reviewing lack of grant readiness. Number two, weak or generic project narrative, just saying anything. Number three, poorly defined goals and outcomes. We need to begin with the end in mind. What is our ultimate goal? And if you got to reverse engineer it from there. And yes, thank you, Kelly. That's a great information. The CPA is always beneficial. If you can afford it, you have to make sure that they're familiar with the nonprofit. Nonprofit is a beast to profit book slash taxes. Yes. You got to do your research, get referrals, get somebody that knows what they're doing. And again, save up because it's not cheap. I'm getting a new CPA for Texas. I was like, let me get out here and get busy. Let me do something, take on a couple extra. It's not cheap. I won't say it's expensive because your price is your price. They're worth it, especially if they know what they're doing. So save up, babes. But you ain't trying to be in handcuffs either. So go ahead and spend that money. Anyway, number 4, misalignment with funder priorities. So if I help baby chickens and you service potbelly pigs, we don't align. No matter how much you want the money that I got, who doesn't want the money, right? I shouldn't just give it to you. I shouldn't just give it to you just because you want it. Misalignment with funder priorities is a huge one where you're trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole. It's not worth it. Last one. Oh no, I have a few more. I'm sorry. Not the last one. Number 5, unrealistic or an incomplete budget. We just talked about budgets. Have your stuff together. Have a general operating budget. Then make sure you have separate budgets for projects and initiatives. They need to be able to fold in and fold in together. They need to be able to be separated so you can see them stand alone, because sometimes you won't be able to go after funding for your whole operational budget. They're not going to fund your whole budget, okay? But they might fund a section, a project, a portion, a program that you have set up. So let it be realistic. So I know we was being audacious. We had on, we was stomping like big dogs in the chat earlier about how much money we need, but we want to be realistic when we're setting it up. Or if it's incomplete, you missing whole sections. A funder does not think it's cute, and they don't think that you're a martyr and all this other stuff. If you're like, I only need $333 because I'm noble and I'll just pay out of my pocket. They think you're foolish. It will not garner respect. None of those things. Give a real budget. And if you don't know how, find someone that knows how to generate a real budget. Look at your competitors, look at other people. And then one trick of the trade, another pro tip, when you do city grants, or federal or grants and stuff like that, they have to report everything. They have to give a report card, etc. So if you look and see who they did fund, because they normally have to publish that as well, when you look and see who they funded, they are going to have to show they'll redact certain information, but they'll show specific information, and you can look and see how they manage their budgets. You can use them as a guide. Now, for somebody that's managing $39 million and you are managing a cool, crispy $23,000, maybe not on that level, but find somebody that's closer to you that has won, or maybe they're 25K, right? I mean, they're 50K or something like that. Find somebody closer to you, but manage it. I'm gonna answer those questions in a little bit. I'm gonna come back to that because we're gonna get through time. Next one, missing or weak sustainability plan, relying solely on grants without a plan for long-term funding. So when I talk about looking at your organization or business holistically, how do you make money if you don't get grants? Because grants is the long game. Grants is a marathon. Grants do not come easy. Grants is hard work. You've seen many people in the chat talk about how they gave up. I was trying and I just said, girl, never mind. I understand. Because it's my heart's passion and my life's work. This is why I'm still in it, because I'll be tired too sometimes. If you look at some of my old videos, I was like, I'm a semi-retired grant writer because I'd be trying to quit every 5 minutes at one point in my life. It was a rough couple of years though. It was some other stuff happening. But one of my clients was like, I'm not giving up. Can you just help me with this one? I can't do this without you. And I was like, you better be glad I don't give up on people. And I'm not gonna leave you high and dry. Because I really wanted to. I wanted to leave her high and dry. I wanted to with everything in me. But my heart wouldn't let me. Number 6 is a missing or weak sustainability plan. that's relying solely on grants without a long-term funding goal or plan. Funders want to see how you manage your program, how you continue beyond their funding. So if maybe they funded you for 2025, but that's all they got, and you can't apply again for 2 years. What do you do then? You have to have a sustainability plan that actually makes sense. Do you scale down? Do you expand in other ways? Do you get reoccurring donations from community members? Do you align with another program? Do you get written into someone else's grant? Like there's so many different directions that can go, but what is your sustainability plan? And a good sustainability plan is going to outline like future grant opportunities, looking at the individual, the grant funder type. So not just looking at federal and state and county, looking at private funders, looking at corporate sponsorships, looking at community donations, all of that. Number 7, this is a big one, and I talked about this at the top of class, failing to follow instructions. I'm gonna say that again. I know I talk fast, so I'm going to intentionally say this slowly. Number 7, failing to follow instructions. Failing to follow instructions, okay? I feel like that's self-explanatory, but the whole grant literally is a set of instructions. Yes, the contents are super important, but I have relationships with funders that are like, yeah, somebody turned it in on line paper and pencil when they have like a whole grant portal. And they just walked in and was like, here you go. Failing to follow instructions. Read and reread the funder's guidelines. Double check for missing documents, incorrect formatting, unanswered questions before submission. Have a second person review what you're doing. I heard something. I have to look and see. Listen, we don't play that. I think it's a fly. I don't know. Not my problem, just as long as it don't touch me. Anyway, not the point. Have a second person review. Hire a grant writer. I'm not even talking about me, but hire somebody that has an experienced second set of eyes to say, hey, you're missing this. This is a huge gap. Where does this story go? What's your impact? Where's your organizational business history or whatever, Follow instructions. Follow instructions. Do not, word limits is a huge one. Character limits. I've had to rewrite something 6 or 7 times because I kept going over the character limit. You think I talk a lot? Speaking, writing, I'm just going off, just going off. So failing to follow instructions is a big no-no. Number 8, a weak or no evaluation plan. Failing to explain how you will measure success. I talked about this earlier in class. How do we define success? How do we know that we've met our goal? Am I helping 50 people? Am I helping one person? If you feel like it's going to sound weak to say I only helped one person, but if my goal was one person, maybe I say I met 100% of our goal. It's how you frame it, but you got to be able to explain it. I know I made success, or I met my goals. I am successful based on X, Y, and Z. You have to map that out. And it matters because funders need to see how you will track impact and ensure accountability. It's about accountability. It's about conditions with that free money. Reports, they're going to ask for them. Receipts, they're going to ask for them. That goes back into that audit part, reporting. And that's the residual of the budgets. It's like the budget in reverse, kind of, in regards to the pain that it causes everyone. Couple more. 9, submitting at the last minute. Rushing an application leads to errors, missing sections, a weak narrative. Been there, was embarrassed. I hate being embarrassed. Didn't happen again, but embarrassing. A rushed application is easy to spot and will not reflect well. Again, don't show up nowhere with no line paper and say, Professor Jess showed me how to do everything. And I learned everything I know from you were not telling the truth. I don't know her. I'm gonna pull up Mariah Carey. I don't know her. Submitting last minute is just not a bad look. So you can do things like create a grant calendar, set internal things that are going to send you reminders and things like that. But if you're going after grants and you have due dates and stuff, you should be living and breathing that. Living and breathing that. So number 8, a week or no evaluation plan. Number 9, submitting at the last minute. Number 10, this is the last one for real. I don't know why I had so many of these, but apparently they were all needed. Number 10, No follow-up after submission. So submitting the grant and never following up with the funder. How do we build relationship? How do we get to know one another if you've never seen me? We never speak. But you're asking me for something? Hmm. How's that sound to you? Would you like that? No, you wouldn't like it? So it's important. I feel like, again, I said this earlier, when we don't win, we learn, right? So if I'm rejected, I ask for feedback on how to improve. Was there a scorecard? Are you at liberty to share that? Um, how do I get better? If awarded, say thank you. Send a thank you email. Keep them updated on your progress. Send pictures. Invite them to events, award shows, your ribbon cutting. All those things matter. Even if they don't come, trust me, they are paying attention. We just won $80,000. One of my clients, $80,000 at the end in October of 2024. This was our second time winning. We'd won a 3-year contract initially. No follow-up after submission is number 10. No follow-up after submission. So we had gotten a 3-year contract. They invited us back for another 3-year contract. And they're not even reporting heavy. They're like, oh yeah, thanks. You don't got to send in all this stuff. Cause we like, here's the receipts, super accountable. We don't play that. But what they like about us is that we have a digital footprint and we send pictures every Christmas event, every back to school event, every Thanksgiving event, whenever anything is changing or moving. Hey, we just want to let y'all know we're still here. For them, that's all they need to see. It builds rapport. It opens up additional opportunities for extra funding that other people may not get because we have a relationship with them. So you can't skip over that. You can't. All right. Almost done. See, that's why I was like, we needed 6 weeks. And that's why I hate to, but those are the basic common mistakes. So that we talked about, those 10 things. Your best practice for this is writing clear, compelling proposals, following all the stuff that we discussed. And then we got one more poll. It's going to take 60 seconds, and then we're going to open up for Q&A because I know listen, this is school night. I got stuff to do tomorrow. Last one. What is your biggest concern about grant writing right now? Even after this conversation, what still concerns you? What are you worried about? What do you just what don't you know still that you feel like you're not ready for? We got 60 seconds on the clock. Well, actually 45. I shall hydrate really quickly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mixed reviews, mixed reviews. Okay. Kind of what I anticipated. Kind of what I anticipated, but okay, so looks like everybody took the poll. Let me go ahead and end it and share results. And again, thank you, Joshua. Yes, thank you, Joshua, so much for documenting, for being our scribe this evening. And again, how I'm conducting this class is intentional because I want you to be able to force yourself to be engaged. Don't just rely on that I'm going to send notes or you can read it out of a book. I want you engaged, paying attention because that's how it goes. All right, so sharing our results. The biggest culprit in this situation, not knowing where to find funding opportunities. Listen, I held a whole class. I know y'all didn't, it was last minute, but I held a whole class on Saturday just doing grant researching. If you were in the class and you had a great time, thank you for being there. I had an amazing time and we went through some great examples. But researching is a whole beast within itself. Listen, talk about tired. It will wear you out. But once you find the information that you're looking for, it's invaluable. And then the next one was writing a compelling proposal, which makes sense because you want to get it right. You want to get it right. All right, I'm stopping here. I'm taking the next 5 minutes or so to answer questions. Now is the time you can come on. I'm going to stop recording. So this concludes this section of Grant Writing 101, session 1 with the grant writing fundamentals. We've made it through everything that we need to. I'm going to stop this recording so that YouTube won't have to listen to the Q&As, but opening it up. So for anybody that would like to come on camera now, I'm going to stop the recording so that we can share afterwards. And there will be a summary of some kind. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an amazing evening. If you're watching this, the replay on YouTube. Bye.